Oh, well, hey there, lucky viewer. I hope that you have packed your bags because we're going on a trip to a magical place called Reddit. But before we do that, I just want to say I was playing Battlefield 2 earlier on the Supremacy mode, which I guess is what you're actually, the game is, how it's supposed to be played. I actually did pretty okay. I leveled up like 5 times with the officer. I was making some plays. I could be wrong, but I might have saved our match. I have it recorded, but it's not gonna be until like maybe 2 or 3 videos later. I'm just trying to collect a bunch of footage so I don't have to worry about it later on. But with that out of the way, let's get into the first post of the day. And of course, we're gonna start off with my bread and butter, the old "Am I the a-hole?" And this this one was just really interesting, and I don't even know what to make of it. But the header is, "Am I the a-hole for not agreeing to have sex with my wife while she's in labor?" Okay, so when I read that, man, I just had to read it. I just had to, because I'm like, there ain't no way that someone wants to do sexual relations while they're having birth. But let, let's just get into it. So the post starts off like, "Hey, my wife and I are expecting our first baby very soon. She's 8.5 months pregnant, so we're at the point where it could technically happen at any time. We pretty much have all the last minute preparations ready. She has a birth plan, and she's gone over it with me so many times I could recite it verbatim. I think reviewing it over and over gives her some sort of comfort when she starts to feel anxious about everything. So I let her review it with me for the upteenth time. My bigger concern is her birth plan not going according to plan and her not being prepared for that. But she gets mad when I suggest it's a possibility. The latest change has thrown me for a loop. She's really hurt by my reaction to it. I'm just saying, just based off of the header, if I got something like that dropped on me, I'd be pretty shocked as well. I've never heard of anybody doing this or wanting to do this, or if there's any sort of like medical benefit. But I assume if there was some sort of medical benefit to it, I would have heard about it. But then again, I live under a rock, so who am I to say? Sorry if you can hear my dog barking. He's I think he kind of sees me through the window. I got my window open, and so his window is open, so he might peek over and yell at me a little bit, like, "Hey man, give me some damn attention." To continue, after she initially goes into labor, ideally at home, but before it's time to go to the hospital, she wants to have sex. What? She thinks it will help with any pain she's experiencing, possibly speed things along, and will be the ultimate intimate act to make love as she's laboring with our child. I mean, I guess I could see that, one in that. I don't even understand though. I mean, this seems like what I'm trying to say here is just that this seems like one of those like weird like hippie things from the 70s. Like, yeah, you gotta bang it out before the baby comes. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Anyways, the post continues. "I don't want to have sex when she's in labor. I don't even know if I could have sex, as in physically get excited in that moment. I I told her I doubt when she actually goes into labor and is having contractions that she'll be at all interested in sex. But how dare I tell her how she'll feel?" Dude, what if this was like one of those tests that crazy people do in relationships where they're just like, "I just want to see how he's going to react. Is he going to be okay with this? Because if he's not, then he's not actually as down as I thought he was." Like, geez, it must be so inconceivable for somebody else, especially a man, to have boundaries. That's just ridiculous. You're a man and you have a penis, so just use it already, man. But to continue, she cried over it last night after I told her how I felt. I tried reassuring her that it has nothing to do with not loving her or finding her attractive. I'm insanely attracted to her, and in the home stretch of her pregnancy, we've actually been having the amount of sex we had when we were in a new relationship and couldn't keep our hands off each other. So I don't have any sort of repulsion against having sex with my pregnant wife or a woman who is a mother or anything like that. There's just something about her being in labor that's off-putting to me. Yeah, no shit. I feel gross even typing it out here. It just feels wrong. And the way she worded it, making love, just weirded me out. She never used that term before. It sounds like a cheesy romance novel my grandpa keeps stocked in the waiting area of her beauty salon. I'm willing to do just about anything else she wants. Sorry, that was grandma in her beauty salon. But if there are any grandpas that have a beauty salon, I hope you're not perving on them. You know, just playing. This is the ultimate act of making love. Do me while I'm crying or having pain or however the childbirth thing goes. I don't know, man. I've just heard that like cramps and contractions and stuff feel like stabbing almost in the stomach or something like that. So I could not see myself getting in the mood with that sort of pain. The other day I had way too much cranberry juice because I'm an old man and started puking and vomiting, puking and vomiting. I started puking and vomiting, but the puking part was coming out of my asshole. So we'll just pretend like I meant to say that. To continue, she also said she wants to have an orgasm when she's deeper into labor because she's been reading about how it can improve natural pain relief. In this case, she's talking about something separate from the sex at home when she first goes into labor. I think maybe that's where this is all coming from. She started reading about orgasmic birth, and that's what she's focused on now. She wants me to be involved in this, not actually penetrative sex at that point. Being at the hospital with nurses and doctors all around and stimulating her breasts and giving her an orgasm is just sort of revolting to me. It sounds incredibly uncomfortable. Yeah, man, it sounds incredibly uncomfortable for both of you. Like, my thing is just imagine what those nurses and doctors have to deal with on a daily basis, and then this crazy woman comes in and is like, "Make me come," while I'm giving birth. Burr. That's a Gucci Mane ad lib if you didn't know. But moving on. So she's very upset with me today. She expected me to be completely on board with all this, and in her words, she can't understand why I wouldn't do this for her. Now I'm the jerk for ruining her birth plan. That's my reaction to that. Like it's both of their kids, right? And this is kind of a bit unhinged. Wouldn't like am I crazy here, or is this like really weird? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the type to blame things on like hormones or pregnancy or anything like that, but this just seems a bit out there. You know what I mean? Exactly. She thought you were going to be completely on board with it, so you ruining her birth plan, right? I can't help but think my feelings about this have to be pretty normal. I know she's my wife, and she's the one giving birth to our baby, and a good husband will do whenever his wife wants or needs in that moment. So maybe I am the a-hole for not being agreeable to it. I feel like an asshole for making her cry and for apparently making her think I don't love her, her words. It's just weird as hell to me to think about doing any of this stuff. Note that when she told me about these additions to her plan, I didn't react like, "Oh, no, that's weird." Internally, that's how I reacted. I think I was a bit more nuanced when I spoke out loud, though. I tried to be gentle about it, as I've learned to be very gentle with what I say to her lately. At the same time, I think I'm allowed to voice how uncomfortable this idea makes me. Am I the a-hole? I wouldn't say that you're the a-hole. This is really weird stuff, like you were saying, and normal people probably wouldn't want to do that. And normal is kind of an arbitrary idea, really. It's just what a whole bunch of old people said that we should act like. But this is, like I said, unhinged. This is something that you go to the to the doctors and nurses and try to give her an orgasm while she's on the birthing table, and they're gonna look at you like, what the hell? Like, do I need to call CPS before this child even comes out? Like, it's so bad, man. And you got to kind of feel for the guy because it's like, I'd do just about anything for you, but this is kind of like one of those boundaries that I kind of don't want to cross. And they're giving him a whole bunch of shit for it. That's just ridiculous. It's his kid too, just saying. And you are both the people that got to go out in public and do this stuff. So I mean, like, you also want to ruin your, I guess, reputation or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this is just a bit much. Maybe she's a little like stir crazy and doesn't realize that there's an outside world where other people are going to form opinions and gossip and talk and stuff. So not the a-hole. And me personally, I would put my foot down and be like, look, this is crazy. You're being crazy. I love you, but you're being crazy right now. Just stop. Anyways, moving forward. This one is also on the topic of relationships, which is one of my favorite Am I the a-holes? Am I the a-hole for having second thoughts about marrying my fiance after I learned about what she did 10 years ago? Before I even get into it, I'm just saying, if someone did something 10 years ago, I mean, I'm thinking of like, what, I'm 28 right now. So things that I did at 18, I look back on and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Or what the hell this? Why did I say that? Why did I do that? Blah, blah, whatever. Anything 10 years ago is just nothing but a giant list of embarrassments for me and a whole bunch of mistakes. My fiance and I got engaged last month, and we've been in a relationship for 4 years. I was very excited about marrying her and having her as a life partner, until I learned something recently which is making me have second thoughts. To provide some more context, my fiance always seems a bit nervous around my sister. I asked my fiance about it, and she just said they were old high school friends. When I asked my sister, she too said the same thing. But she always was a bit cold to my fiance. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think I know where this is going. This carried on the entire time we were dating, and my sister was always somewhat cold to my fiance. When I told her I proposed and was engaged, she congratulated me but didn't seem too excited or thrilled for me, which surprised me because we are always each other's biggest supporters and well-wishers. Well-wishers. That's such a weird word. Like, when I read that, I thought that they were, like, him and his sister would go around tossing coins into wells, like making wishes. Oh, God. Something's wrong with me. But it continues. But I did not make too much of it and was really excited that I was engaged and was going to marry the love of my life. However, last week my sister called me for a serious chat. She said she always wanted to get it off her chest, but she didn't want to interfere in my relationship, but that she felt I had the right to know before marrying my fiance. She told me she was distant friends with my fiance in high school, but that relationship was broken after her boyfriend had cheated on her with my fiance. She said my fiance knew about their relationship, but she still chose to hook up with her boyfriend. I was a bit shocked because I remember consoling my sister for a few months after her boyfriend cheated on her. I just didn't know that the person he cheated on her with was my fiance. The next day I asked my fiance about it, and she fully admitted to it, but was also in tears. She said that was a horrible mistake she made in high school, and she felt guilty about it, and that and that she is a completely changed woman, and that experience taught her so much. It taught me the most. Well, to be fair, I mean, most people learn more from mistakes than they do their successes. To be fair. While I do believe my fiance that she is a changed woman and that she is not the type to cheat, I am still having second thoughts about everything. I still remember the hurt my sister felt in high school, and to now know that my fiance was responsible for the hurt, it makes me look at her in a very different light. Am I the a-hole for having second thoughts about marrying my fiance? All right, so this is a little tricky. It's a little bit tricky because, like, it was 10 years ago, and I mean, in high school, me personally, there's a lot of dumb crap that I said and did that, I didn't mean to do, and I ended up hurting people because of it. And it did teach me a lot. It's not what's the word? It's not completely unfathomable that you would be having second thoughts, but it was also pretty much like ancient history at this point. You know what I mean? And yeah, your sister has a right to hold a grudge. And I just think that it's one of those things that, I mean, me in that situation, I probably have the second thoughts, but if I were to come up with a solution, I would probably think maybe having the fiance and the sister kind of hash things out a little bit and see if they're cool. But if it like escalates and it gets really, really bad and they're not getting along, it'd probably be best to maybe not marry her at that point. Just if your family's that important to you, you know what I mean? But at the same time, if you think this is the one, you got to follow your heart, man. But yeah, I would just say try to rectify the situation between your sister and fiance and see if it goes well. There's not a whole lot of like jokes I can make about this because it's not really out there, but this post is pretty grounded. So yeah. And this might be one of the very few times that I'd say that sleeping with someone, like this person sleeping with another person, was probably actually a mistake. And I don't typically have sympathy for people that, say, oh, it was a mistake that I slept with her. Because I mean, like, how can it be a mistake? It doesn't compute in my head. But, I'm a little different, I think, than most people. At least when it comes to ideas of intimacy. So, like, there's got to be some sort of statute of limitation of dumb crap that you've done in the past, right? Like, there has to be some point where it's like, this can't really harm my reputation anymore, right? Yeah, right. All right, the last one's going to be real short and sweet. It's this little meme I found. The worst part about being Redigit, I don't really know how to pronounce that. The creator of Terraria, the 8th best selling video game of all time, is listening to your wife fangirl over Stardew Valley. Dude, imagine George Lucas like sitting in his home theater or whatever he's got, talking to his wife, and she's just going on and on fangirling about Star Trek. Man, that's got to be annoying, right? Or like, I don't know, Jay-Z's wife going on about how good of a rapper Nas is, I'd be like, okay, if you like that game so much, why don't you go be with them? Nah, I'm playing. I'm not that petty. Man, this type of stuff will actually get couples into some hot water, though, like on some real Imagine Notch's wife talking about Terraria. Oh, man, that's got to be a little bit of hit to the ego, though. Just a little bit of the little, like, skin in my pride a little bit, That's going to be all for me today. If you have a particular subreddit that you would like for me to explore, leave it in the comments. Do the thing that other YouTubers tell you to do at the end of their videos. And I will catch y'all later.